President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Good to see you. I just want to say everybody back home, right back at you. We appreciate you. You always give us straight talk.
And welcome to Straight Talk. Well, today's Straight Talk is very privileged to have the First Lady of Avalon Park Community, Avalon Park Community Church.
Yes, sir.
It's at 8100 South Dante. The First Lady is Mrs. Williams.
Hello. How
Glad
are
to
you?
have you on the show.
Glad to be here.
Pastor Williams. So I say First Lady Williams and Pastor Williams.
It's a great honor, sir.
Now, it's an honor to have the First Lady on the show with you. And I want you to really just let us know all about what do you think about the weekend show.
I thought the weekend show was excellent. I mean, the singers were dynamic, and I thought their performances were really good.
And
So
even the band was beautiful.
yes, the band was really good as well. So I thought, what a nice occasion to kind of have a little date between us. So we really enjoyed it.
That's great.
But Debbie, the beauty of it is you had the great Gene Chandler there.
Yes, yes.
Chicago's own, was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well,
Yes.
you know, a couple of years ago, they had a roast of W.R. Lillard, and he was the host of it. So I'm mad at them anyway.
And Joe and I
You
had
know, Gene. He
Yeah.
ripped me apart sitting right there on this.
yeah. Like Joe and I had a chance. We all took pictures together with Brother Chandler, and you cannot help if you're a Chicagoan and you have appreciation of music, and particularly the music of our community. And Gene Chandler is still.
No, don't limit it to Chicago.
No,
Gene
it's
is
not
worldwide.
We know Gene Chandler is worldwide, but he's a Chicagoan first and foremost.
Yeah.
And growing up, I mean, you couldn't help but hear the Duke of Harold, and it's a groovy situation, and there's a number of hits that he made. But he is such a humble human being.
And he owns a champagne company now called Duke of Harold.
Wow.
Wow, he got a champagne company.
You saw the case on his.
I didn't. I saw it and I didn't see.
Wow.
I didn't see. But I mean, it's just great. And I know you all have a long personal history together, and he came out to support his friend. I think what we have, and I shared it at church, is that you have developed something for mature audiences to attend, to come and enjoy good music with some of the Chicagoland's greatest artists and some of renowned artists, and it's great. But then you know what the sisters of the church said? They said we need to be selling some food down here because they saw it.
Yeah.
The sister told me, she said, now next time, let us know early enough so we can get some food ready in the back, in the other room, and have food down here for these people.
Oh yeah, she was right.
I said, I most certainly will.
Look, man, it's just been a busy week at Avalon Park and beyond. I want to thank you for being with us today as we are in the process of preparing to walk to Springfield. Our first track began today here in Chicago.
The First Lady's not going to walk this year.
Well,
I'm walking on Friday.
yeah. Well, we
I'm going to walk to about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. We covered the west side and a little bit up north, and then we tried to get to all four corners. We finished up in Inglewood at Audrey Wright's place, the Gordy Foundation. Then I went to my old neighborhood in Inglewood, and where our house used to be. This is a true story. The people on the block still cut the grass. The house is not there, but people had such great respect for that house and what that house meant to the community and what my father meant to that community. And they say, we use this, just for recreation. We had 4 double lots in Chicago, which is almost impossible to have. And the house is no longer there, but the fact is they didn't know I was coming. So we pulled up. I want to thank Advantage Toyota for what they did. They gave us the loan of a 15-passenger van so we could move around the city today. And then, of course, Regal Bus was there, you know, to showcase their bus, black-owned bus company. So now, tomorrow, we go to Joliet, and we're going to continue to press Governor J.B. Pritzker to pass comprehensive legislation on violence as a health crisis and a disease. So the bus leaves this Friday from Pastor Dean's Church at 120th and Normal, Vision of Faith Ministries. And we're leaving at 9 o'clock, and we're going to be in Springfield by 1, and we will have a presentation down there, and once again, continue to push the issue, because if we don't press the issue, WL, it won't happen. We've got to take that resolution, and we got to turn it into legislation. So we're taking our pain and turning it into policy. So it's a lot of work involved, and so we're accomplishing the task, and all this is a part of the ministry. So then, of course, October the 20th, we invite people to Avalon Park because we're having our Men's Day. Mm-hmm. And we're asking men to bring men because if you notice, W, the last 2 weeks, a man joined each Sunday. Mm-hmm. Last Sunday, this Sunday. And these are strong men. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you got men in the church, you've really got something to work with. And, you know, of course, we know women keep the church open, so I don't want to be
and we got a man that's gonna draw a lot of people there.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. Shorty G.
Shorty Mac.
Shorty Mac.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Oh, he did a great song for us yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Swear himself in as a member.
Yeah.
And hey, it's your obligation to sing every Sunday.
That's right. Every Sunday you're gonna sing. But the whole beauty when we talk about the musical that your company Star Planet produced at the church, I got a chance to see the possibilities of what that particular event can do. Mm-hmm. It brings the more mature crowd together, and you're talking about you still have a lot of great talent in the Chicago area that you can showcase. And for cultural reasons, it's very important because you're preserving our history. To hear some of the great singers that you had on Saturday at the church, I'm gonna tell you, if you were at a different type of forum, that ticket would have been $60, $80 to see them because they were just that good.
Yes, they were.
And they performed from their heart in the basement of a church.
Yep.
You know, I thought it was really great. You know, like you said, it's a new thing. Mm-hmm. We're presenting music for mature individuals.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think that'll go very, very big all over this country.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And you're going to come someplace and you're not going to get shot.
Right.
That's right.
And people can enjoy themselves.
Enjoy themselves without riffraff.
And I know your business partner, your daughter, Tanya, hello, Tanya, will take care of the business because now people can be able to go on the website and get their tickets. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a VIP function now. So you just can't come in off the street. If you not on that list, you ain't coming in. Mm-hmm. So when you make it reserved and private like that, then more people want to come.
We lost a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Last night we lost a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take the opportunity to check that door. Mm-hmm. It didn't look like a nightclub, just a church.
A church.
So they passed by. They look, man, ain't no nightclub around here. They go back home.
We got to put a sign out. The next thing you got to have a sign. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is, we learned so much from that experiment. Mm-hmm. But to preserve our culture is very important, and the art and the artistic value of what you're doing. I said this is priceless. Now I know when you all did the event on the west side at Pastor Johnny Miller's banquet hall. I know you had about 2,000 people there, but that's a bigger forum. Mm-hmm. But the basement of that church was packed, and they did such a good job fixing up the tables, those banquet tables. It was just first class.
Yeah.
No, it didn't have a banquet hall at Johnny Miller.
Yeah.
It was a regular church.
Regular church.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just they had about 3 floors of churches. Mm-hmm. You know, and you choose the one you want. You pay the one you want to pay for.
Yeah. All I know is that we got something special. And I just encourage people, I can't wait till the next one. It's positive, very, very positive. I mean, I try to get Joy to get up and dance. She didn't want to dance.
I can't dance.
Yeah, that's all right. Fake it.
First lady, you didn't want to dance.
No, no.
Yeah.
You say you can't dance.
I can't dance. I can't at all.
Pastor can't either.
Yeah.
Doesn't make
I told her she can freestyle.
like me.
Yeah, you can freestyle. You freestyle. All you got to do is be with the rhythm. You just follow the rhythm. You just follow the rhythm. I mean, it's in our DNA to follow the rhythm. We follow the rhythm. So that was great, man. So it's just so much going on, and I can't wait till November comes so I can take a little bit of break, man. Just slow down. It's just been a powerful experience. But once again, this issue of violence and this bill has got to be addressed, and we're going to continue to tell Pritzker we got to pass this legislation. He's got to convene a special session. That's all to it. And you know, people can't duck the reality of what's happening. The fact that people are dying every day, and like our good friend Vince Gilbert said, we're all just one bullet away from a loved one getting shot. And you know, even Vince came out today. He wasn't up to being Vince, but Vince was there. And you know, to have Tom Harris come out there, and Attorney Rose Joshua, and Bob Israel, and Brother Bill McCarthy, it was just Phil Bradley, Tony Thorne was there. I mean, just great people out there today. You know, the support of Pastor Kevin Dean and others. You know, Reverend Julius Smith, Attorney Quandra, and Miss Owens. There's people that just helped to make this event happen. So now we get on the road, and then we'll meet you guys down in Springfield Friday.
We went to the west side.
In Lawndale.
Yeah, in Lawndale.
Yeah.
Met with Pat.
Yeah, a beautiful lady.
Right, and she's gonna support it.
Like she opened the door, and then you know what Phil tickled me. He said, "Man, when she offered you a donation, you told her no." He said, "I ain't never seen no preacher turn down no donation." He said, "It ain't about no money, man. It's about the importance of doing this event." And then when I wouldn't take the donation, she went and gave them taffy apples.
Right.
I gave them taffy apples, you know, taffy apples rather. But it just astonished Phil. He said, "Man, I ain't never seen no preacher won't take no money." Well, man, this ain't about taking no money.
It's about taking spirits.
That's right.
The spirit of the people.
And taking the responsibility to pass this legislation, WL. That's just it. And, you know, I want to thank Joy for what you're doing, and kind of ask Joy, ask you, because, we talk a lot of times, I mean, what do you think about this whole concept of the legislation and this whole issue, and particularly to hear from your perspective as a professional, as a mother, as a woman, as an activist,
I'm going to say that I think the legislation is absolutely necessary for today. Me being in education, the legislation is doing that. It's educating people, correct?
Correct.
Educating them about violence. And I think that's, again, a critical component. For me, to have a little grandson coming up in the future and just thinking about his life and thinking about just the children that we all have around us, it makes me definitely think about the necessity. When you think about smoking, you think about, okay, everybody's talking about the damage it does to your lungs, and you see on TV all the horrible pictures of what smoking does to you. So,
And they still do it. What's wrong with people?
yeah, I agree.
What's wrong with people?
Yeah, what's wrong with people?
They keep
Sick,
putting
man.
it in.
Yeah.
Pastor, why do they keep doing that?
Yeah.
They like what they like, baby.
They like what they like, but
They like what they
don't
like.
they like living?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I tell you, when one is addicted to a vice, it's just what it is. It's an addiction. But one can have the ability to break it. Just as fast as you started, you can break
Well, I
it.
had
too.
it at one point,
Yeah.
but I saw when I bought a pack of cigarettes once. It was only 20 cents at the time, 20 or 25 cents, something like that.
100 years ago.
I don't know how many it was. but
20
I
cents
remember-
for
I
a
remember
pack of
putting the money-
cigarettes.
Funny.
I put the quarter in the machine, in the cigarettes, and a nickel came back. So 20 cents a pack, penny a piece. I took it out, and I opened the cigarette pack up, and I looked at the package. It said, "Caution, the contents of this pack may be hazardous to your health." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "I am not a fool." I threw it down. You know, a friend walked up to this opportunity. He said, "What you doing, man?" I said, "Oh, let me show you this." I picked it up and I showed him. "Oh, okay. Why don't you give it to somebody else then if you don't want it?" I said, "No, man, I'm not going to give anybody death."
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he wants to eat, if he wants that, he's going to have to buy it himself. I made sure nobody got that.
Well, you know, W, the whole thing is that people, you know, particularly people in institutional leadership, they need to have the backbone to stand and do what's right. You know, it's always right to do what's right. Never, the scripture says, never grow weary of doing what is right. Mm-hmm. And I can't grow weary when it comes to doing what is right. It is right to pass a comprehensive bill as it deals with the issue of violence.
That's absolutely right.
And what, because I was looking at WGN, if you don't mind me saying this, they covered us.
Mm-hmm.
So I got home and I just happened to, Joey turned on the TV. Mm-hmm. And they still want to throw the gun in there. We're not going to.
Throw the what in?
The gun. They want to talk about guns. We're not going to Springfield to talk about some type of gun control. You have enough laws on the book pertaining to guns. We're talking about the system of violence.
We're talking about their brain now.
Right. Mm-hmm. Talking about a system of violence. Well, you're talking about mental illness, you're talking about domestic, you're talking about a system. We're trying to bring it under one umbrella because right now it's being put in various compartments. You have to bring it under a system. And they know what it's going to take to write this legislation and to enforce the law and the impact it will have on public policy. I'm not going to Springfield and walking to Springfield to talk about no guns. Mm-hmm. Gun violence. I'm not talking about gun violence. I'm talking about violence as a health crisis, violence as a disease. So I want the public to know that. And once again, if there are people who want to get on the bus with us, they can call me at 708-690-5339, 708-690-5339, and we will reserve a space for you. But seats are going fast, folks. So that's where we're going. So we, like I said, we'll go through Joliet, we'll go through Decatur, we'll go through Peoria. I think I said Joliet, didn't I?
Yeah.
So we'll be going through those various places. We got to get through Kankakee.
Right.
So that process starts tomorrow. So I'm prepared. Phil and I are prepared, and others do what we have to do. And of course, we'll have a vehicle with us just in case something happens. But half of this is going to be, you know, we've got everything timed to move. You know, the symbolicness of it is that you want to walk through those various towns. You know, we want to spend time talking with people and educating them on what's happening. And the goal is to get that Friday and to demand and encourage Pritzker to call a special session. Pritzker has yet to respond, which is surprising. I thought he was intelligent. State Representative Ford addressed him. You need to contact the group. Speaker Madigan's office said they would reach out to him. We delivered a registered letter to him, no response. But we're going to continue to demand and encourage and force the issue. We, the citizens, do not work for J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker works for us. Mm-hmm. And so we hope that he has the intelligence
and he
to do what he needs to do.
To follow the leader, which are the people.
Right. Well, the bottom line is that, you know, power and arrogance are a reality. And since he got elected, he doesn't really feel he has to deal with the black community. J.P. Pritzker is very arrogant when it comes to dealing with the black community. You know, he has his minions that he addresses, but he's not hearing the real issue. So we're going to bring the issue to him. And we're going to continue to press him to call this special session. Now, we're giving him a win-win situation. They go back October 28th. So if he doesn't want to call a special session, which he should, then the first thing that he has to do, and the assembly should do, is that when they assemble on October the 28th, this ought to be the first thing on the docket. We don't need any more hearings. Hearings are over with. We had 5 hearings around the state. The law requires that you only have 2 hearings to bring forth the concept of legislation. But we have not only hearings, but we have the empirical evidence of a resolution. Now the goal is to turn this resolution into a binding document of law that will address education, collaboration, civility, and redirecting the funding. Now the big business of violence, WL, is the fact is some people don't want to see this legislation take place. It threatens them because those people that get violence prevention money, their day of getting free money is over. You cannot stop violence by closing down an expressway. You cannot stop violence with a prayer vigil and a march. And prayer is very important. I'm not prayer. But after you pray, then you have to get off your knees and go to work. And so until we came along, no one offered a solution.
You're right. Prayer should lead you to action.
Right. Right. So let's have a prayer vigil. Let's send off some balloons. I mean, and we just, somebody gets killed and we get together and we light some candles and we moan and cry. And a lot of people don't know what to do because they're shocked. Because, you know, I keep hearing people talk about post-traumatic stress, but they don't talk about current traumatic stress. You can't get to the post syndromes until you go through the current syndrome. So current traumatic stress is a reality, and that's got to be addressed. Reopening mental health clinics, a must. Putting funding in the right place, a must. And I will show the profiteers of violence and the capitalists of violence that there's more money in the solution than the problem. That's just it.
Well, first off, we may have to show them our strength.
Yeah.
Okay, we may have to show all the politicians the strength of the people. And we can start with something like, who gave you permission to sell our parking meters? Was there a resolution passed by the people and approved by the people? No. All we found out one day was all the parking meters don't own to the city anymore. They own to some foreign country.
Well, the legislators, at the bequest of Mayor Daley at that time, went along with the play. And by the time they put it out there to the public, the decision was made. Legislators, many times, laws.
You mean the alderman?
The alderman.
Yeah,
the alderman.
What did the alderman supposed to do?
The alderman should have contacted the people.
Every alderman in the city should have contacted their people
with a hearing.
And get, it's just like an election. Okay, if the majority of the people in these wards say no, we don't want our meters taken, then you can't take those meters.
But look how quiet your black aldermen in Chicago are now. You can't hear them. They're quiet. They're quiet as a church mouse.
They pick people like what Prisco asked for.
Right.
Docile individuals who will do what they're told.
That's right.
Instead of trying to do what they're supposed to do for the people.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is...
That's what Prisco said about
Emmanuel Jones. Oh, he talked about Emmanuel Jones like he had a tail. Right. But he's somewhere hiding now. See, because he knows that the good Lord is sending something his way he didn't expect. He needs to be on the right side of history. I thought he had common sense and intelligence. Anytime a citizen sends you an intelligent letter registered to your office, someone on your staff should respond. Ironically, even the mayor of Chicago, when we sent her the data of what we were doing, no response. So we had to take it to Springfield and lay it at the Capitol steps and begin to force the issue and demand the fact that this legislation be passed. But what this has taught me too, for the future, I personally as a citizen, I'm going to be watching all the legislation they pass. And people can go online and see the legislation they pass. But what happens, WL, people trying to make it, they're trying to survive. They're trying to survive, so they're trusting that the elected officials serve their interests. They're not selling right. They're not, you know, if we had more elected officials like LaShawn Ford, like Camille Lilly, like Elizabeth Hernandez, when I requested to hear it,
Danny K. Davis.
Yeah, Danny K. Davis. I'm gonna be nice. We just need more elected officials. Because we had federal hearings at Kennedy King a couple of weeks ago, and I went, but they were talking about gun violence. They were not talking about the sister violence. See, the whole conversation is wrong. We are changing the dynamics of the conversation. The attention is not on the gun; it's the person behind the gun. But the reality is, like I've said on many shows, America has got to be reconfigured. America was built on violence. Let's be truthful about the whole thing. Violence is in the DNA of America. Everything, every movie is based on violence. Everything is based on violence.
Songs.
Songs, entertainment. Hold up.
It's glamorized. It's like it's something to be proud of, that you can carry a gun or shoot a gun, or you spending time in prison. Like it's supposed to be something that is something to be proud of, I can recall back in the day when people committed any type of crimes like that, violent crimes, they were considered like a pariah. Nobody wanted to be around them. So, and today it's like, oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? I saw some kids, and I think it was supposed to be meant to be something, they had kind of the ROTC guns in the middle of the street, but I don't want to see any guns. I don't want to see them pretend guns. I don't want to see them flipped around and, kind of like what they do in the ROC or ROTC. Yeah, I don't want to see any of them, and I especially don't want to see them in the middle of the road while I'm driving.
Well, we had a mayor once to tell the police and the soldiers who came in to help, shoot to kill. We're going to take a little break and come back and talk about that. What do you think about an official who would tell the people who work for the people to shoot and kill the people if they...
It's very sad.
We'll be back after these messages.
Yeah, okay, I saw Phil.
What's it like working with your family? Good question.
Right, great question. Original Soul Vegetarian was established over 38 years ago from our parents, so we're second generation owners.
Back then in the 80s, nobody knew what vegan looked like.
But if you say, oh, this is barbecue, they'll eat it and say, oh, it's good.
Original Soul Vegetarian has been an anchor in this community. At least 90% of our clientele aren't vegans.
It has helped the community a lot with being aware of healthy eating and healthier options.
Most of everything that we sell is sourced locally, and it's all made in-house because it's just not about food for us. Your health is your wealth. Just add something healthy to what you're eating. You're gonna feel better.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please,
Don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Tropical World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8809. Your pet shop.
Why? Why? Why are you following me? Why my hoodie make me? You look suspicious.
Why does my music make me dangerous?
Why are people that are supposed to protect me attacking me?
Why are you afraid of me? Why do you think I'm dangerous? Why do I afraid of people who are supposed to protect me?
Why can't I make a peace sign without you labeling a gang sign?
Why does standing your ground only work when I'm on the ground?
Why do you show this photo over this one?
Why do you only stop and frisk me?
Why do you have low expectations for me?
Why can't I run down the street without causing alarms?
Why do you think I'm a thug?
Why do you assume I'm armed?
Why can I breathe?
Why is my mom scared every time I leave the house?
Why are you targeting me?
Why am I a target?
Why?
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 I know why.
And it has to stop.
It must stop.
Because I have dreams.
Because I can change the world.
Because I will make a difference.
Because I have a family.
Because I am strong.
Because I'm talented.
I have a voice.
I can find a cure.
I have goals.
I can lead the country.
I am determined.
I have a future.
Because I'm a scholar.
I am powerful.
I'm someone's friend.
I'm someone's brother.
I'm someone's son.
Someone loves me. And because my life matters too.
My life matters. My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters. My life matters.
All lives matter.
And so did theirs.
You don't have to answer. We're back, guys. And joining us now, you know, the pastor foolishly replaced his wife for Phillip Bradley.
That's it, hard. I didn't replace my wife.
No, that's it. Thank you, WLU. That's funny.
Hello, Phil.
I can appreciate it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But we thought Phil may have some information that the audience needs to hear. And Joy acquiesced to giving up her seat. so we can get this out, Phil. So tell us what.
Well, you know,
I see this is back in 1990.
Right. I wrote a paper dealing with the positional nonviolence. What is nonviolence? And the thing is, and let me give you like a quick IQ quiz. Have you ever heard of NA? NA.
National Association.
Narcotics Anonymous.
Oh, okay. No, I've heard of it. Yes.
What about AA? You ever heard of AA?
Anonymous, yeah.
Right. How many steps is it?
How many steps?
How many? The program got some steps. How many steps is it? How many steps?
12.
It's 12 steps. Have you ever used the program?
No.
Okay. Would you refer somebody to the program?
Yes.
Okay. How many steps is it to nonviolence?
I wouldn't refer anybody to any of that.
Okay. But how many steps to nonviolence?
I have no idea.
How many steps to nonviolence?
12
It's 8.
steps.
No,
8.
It's 8. Now, if you don't know the steps, you can't do it. Okay? Now,
wait, all your steps, what do you mean steps?
there's a series of steps in achieving nonviolence from A to Z. How do you become nonviolent? Well, it's not, don't do it, walk away. No, that's not nonviolence. Nonviolence is a logic model to get there. See, violence is illogical. It's nothing like, anybody could be violent. Any fool could be violent. You don't have to be smart to be violent. You could be dumb as rocks to be violent, okay? So violence is a very irrational thing. Now, smart people do it, but it don't make them rational when they do it. Now, it's 8 steps of nonviolence. Dr. King used these same 8 steps, getting out the Birmingham jail. Same 8 steps. Jesus used it. That's where he got it from. Gandhi used it. My teacher, James Bevel, used it. He taught it to me. It's 8 steps. You go from 1 to 8. Now, if you skip a step, it's like it ain't no 10-step NA program. It ain't no 8-step program. And if you reduce it 8 steps, it ain't gonna work, okay? But if you keep the 12-step in it, you go from I'm powerless over my addiction, and now I have recovered, and I need to work on staying recovered. Well, that's the state we're in right now as people. We're powerless over a problem, and we need to recover and stay recovered. But you have to go through some steps to get there. Well, with personal violence, it's 8 steps, and with social violence, it's 8 steps. Now, if you look at what violence is, because if you don't call the devil by his name, you can't catch him. Now, one of the things I do trainings in nonviolence. It's a 40-hour training. But one of the things I do on the front end is define what is violence. And violence has 3 tiers. It's 3 tiers to violence. Violence is in our policies, violence is in our politics, and violence is with the police. Okay? 3 different tiers. Okay? And it affects 3 different groups of people differently. But let's define the violence. So if you look in the paper I got, the definition would be, now the first thing is, we have to even start dealing with ourselves on who is violent. Because if you don't define it right, violence is an internal thing to come out.
Correct.
It's not an external thing to go in. The question is, are you violent? Oh, and what triggers you to finally do it? What line you cross? And we all got these parameters where we could be ourselves on the news.
But
if certain triggers are pushed, we could be on the news too.
Yeah.
Okay, what lines people draw, whatever. Now, but let's do with violence though. Now, let's define violence. Violence is the act of serving one's perversities, privileges, preferences, and pleasures rather than health, injury, rights, and needs of all people. That's policy.
Okay, but it's violence, and it's exactly what he's after. He's saying it's a mental health problem.
I got you. No. The question is, in the system we in right now, are we at a disadvantage because somebody has got a privilege at the expense of our rights? Is someone exercising a perversity at the expense of our needs? Because this is when you know it's a constitutional violation, and this is what you have to line up.
Mm-hmm.
See, because this is what a violent act is. Because like I explained to Reverend Williams, when an act happened, is it that a law was not enforced or a law need to be put in place? Now this is on a person by person basis. Did they not enforce a law, or in this case, a law is not in place to deal for justice?
Well, a law was not in place for them to be able to close all the mental health centers in Chicago. I know And I heard they were closed all over Illinois, but I was thinking about
Right,
Chicago.
but there's no long place like the gentleman who shot the lady through the window going on a wellness check. Ain't no long place he's supposed to be.
So he's mentally ill.
Welcome to that, but when we deal with policy, when we look at some of my social policies, but policies are also like we're be talking about institutional policy issues, but we also got individual policy issues. He runs his own home. He set up his own policies in his house. As individual adults, have we ever let our privileges at the expense of our children's rights? Let our perversities at the expense of their needs?
Right.
Yeah, our pleasures at the expense of their health? Our pleasures at the expense of their interests? Because that may become your family policy. And a little fool can't beat a big fool. Okay? So we have to start looking at how do we actually be using violence in every level, okay? In institutional and in our individual. But let's keep going. Violence is uttering statements that are not true. Thinking, speaking, and acting without being motivated by creative goodwill and compassion. That's our politics. That's the politics we operate on.
But see, the idea is here. See, what you're saying is absolutely true, but what we're trying to get across to the fact people is get those mental health centers back open.
We're going to get that. No, but the thing is...
Well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. The problem is we have to still determine... See, when you're in the Indianapolis 500, if everybody's speeding, now the question is how you give out tickets? You have to have a definition. Shit. Who get a ticket? Hell, you have to start with some parameters of who's actually not speeding, okay? Because it looks like we all... And that's the thing. See, we have to really start from, seriously. Who will really agree not to use violence as an option? We have to lead by examples. With our spouses, with our children.
That's all good, but if a person is mentally ill, you can't talk to them about that. They're not going to hear you.
No. A rational person can go to that state.
No.
Let me explain. I know. No.
Okay, well, you can't keep talking. Now,
let me finish the definition.
Whoa, no.
I'm not finished.
I know you're not finished.
No, I got one more stance.
Okay, but then I would have forgotten what I was going to say here
because
you're reading. See, you're defining something. And I wanted to comment on it,
right?
But if you keep on going, I'm going to forget that.
Okay, good.
Which I have done already.
Okay. I'm sorry. We were talking about violence.
You have an intellectual moment.
See, the point is, as a police officer, I was chief of police in in Phoenix, and one of my officers got his head smashed in with a lock by letting the guy out to go to the toilet. He forgot to take the lock off. The guy took the lock and hit him in the head. Now, I was there when they wrote him up, so I saw where he was from. The conversation. So I came to Chicago with my partner. Went by the detective unit over east, and the lieutenant gave me 2 cars to go find the guy. I rode with one car, my partner rode the other car. And this policeman sitting behind me, if we find him, we gotta kill him. When we find him, we gotta kill him. We gotta kill him. I said, hold it, man. I said, what are you talking about? He said, we gotta kill this guy. I said, we ain't going to kill nobody. We're going to arrest someone for almost killing one. No. But look. See these notches here? I said, yeah. These are by Frank Pate. Frank Pate put all these notches on my gun, on his gun. He's no longer a policeman now, but I got the other side. I only got 3 on that side. I got to fill this side up. Then I got to go get another handle and fill it up. I'm going to outdo Frank Pate. I said, man, turn this damn car around. Took him back to his headquarters, and I went and cussed the lieutenant. I said, why would you give me someone like that to help me? He said, oh, I know what you're talking about. He's okay. I said, what do you mean he's okay? I said, are you mentally ill too? Are you messed up in the head too? I said, this man is messed up in the head. Oh.
No, but W, my point is this. I was appointed by Governor Ryan and Edgar for 2 different commission seats. One was the African American Family Commission, and the other was a statewide committee for child abuse and neglect. Now, being on the African American Family Commission with Donald Dew and all of the Mucky Mucks and Lou Palmer and all of them, The first question I ask is, let's define what a family is. You know, they said, oh man, we don't want to restrict ourselves. And no. We're here to determine how is the state violating black families. And if such thing happens, let's define what it is so we know when they crossing the line. They won't do that. That's open-ended. We ain't like that. We got untraditional families. We got a different type of thing. You can't define it. Well, you can't enforce it either if you can't define it, okay? And we right back where we started from, that's after the commission was put in place, because they won't define anything. I'm trying to define what violence is, because it's not a figment of our imagination. There's some parameters that it operates under, okay? Now, the last stage is called the police. The police show up when violence is intended to destroy the property, the spirit, the mind, emotion, or the property of people. That's the only time they show up, and they deal with poor people. The police don't police middle-class people. The police don't police rich people. So the policies never get policed. That's why we show up, to police the policies, okay? Now the question is, as we go down this road of violence, of which we're getting a lot of pushback, people from the spirit is kicking our ass. People mentally may not be able to grasp it emotionally. Hey, we ain't ready for that yet because everybody got their own position about when they gonna use violence. That violence is a necessary evil. No, violence is a form of insanity. It's not rational. It doesn't create peace. It doesn't create justice. It doesn't create freedom. Because whenever they use it for that, we always got a lesser than. We never got the whole shemani. It never happens.
So see, what I was trying to get at is the fact that even though, you know, I had my gun up to a guy's head once because he had his gun like this. My partner was standing right in front of him. I'm trying to tell him from this side to drop it. And finally, when he decided what he was going to do, he raised his hand like this. When he raised his hand up, I thought he was getting ready to kill my partner. I blinked out, pulled the trigger. But I saw the gun leave his hand at the same time that the hammer was going forward, and I was able to stop it. Got a hole in my hand, but I saved his life. I could not have pulled that trigger if I had been alive, if I had been awake, and you know, didn't blank out. That's why I know it's a problem when you go to kill somebody. Now, if you go to kill somebody, you mean you got a permanent problem. Right. This was just a temporary thing for me. And again, we came upon a guy, he had a gun on a person, he saw us coming in a squad car, he threw his gun in his pocket, and we walked over to him with our guns drawn. I grabbed his pocket, told him, turn the gun loose and bring your hand out. He said, man, I'm gonna blow your brains out. You ain't gonna shoot nobody.
but what we have to start seeing, see, one of the things about this legislation that when we keep pushing it, because that's the thing, we have to set up a safety net, or I call it a gatekeeper, so we can keep up with it. Like the MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, they got an ideal model how you keep up with it. The products change, but the process stay the same. But the other thing is, we got to start seeing how every ism we've had was actually driven by violence, not that violence came from it. Racism is violence. Capitalism is violence. Materialism is violence. All those are acts of violence under another name. See, white people could talk about racism all day long till the sun come up and we still can't catch them. Tell them that they violent and watch how they react. Because they violent in everything. More so in private than in public. My point is, we about to put violence on the run because we really have identified it for what it is. It really is a mental disorder. There's no honor and dignity in it no more.
Yeah, see, the
dignity is gone. You know what I mean? The honor of it is gone. There's no honor in it anymore. We used to revel in it. There's no honor in it no more. You know what I mean?
What would you call this guy who was trying to get his hand out of his pocket and I'm holding it? And he's telling me he's going to blow my brains out.
He's nuts.
What would you call him? So I uncocked my gun because I had cocked it to try and intimidate him. I uncocked my gun and I said, okay. I put it in my pocket, put it in my holster, pulled out my knife. Plop! I said, I know how to get your arm out. And draw my hand back like that. He said, oh! He touched his hand. You man, you gonna cut me? You a fool.
No. Let me. See, sometimes you don't realize why you go into certain paths. I didn't realize how competent I was in knowing certain sciences until I learned them later that I knew something about it. You know, that's why you have an affinity for it. You kind of take to it. I was about to get robbed one day on the L. I was only 16 years old. A guy put a gun on me and said, man, give me your whole bank. It was on Christmas Eve. We just got paid, and I'm thinking, man, how does this guy know I got a bank? You know, he must have been watching me, following me. You know, I worked at Walgreens on 6th Avenue in Hollister, leaving late to go get some Christmas presents. I said to the guy, listen, man, because at the time, the news was always, man got killed for $5. Man got shot, they stole one shoe. You know, something dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man got killed over a coat. You know, it was always some old crazy news, you know?
Yeah.
So I said, listen, man, I'm going to give you $20 and we could walk away friends, okay? Ain't nobody going to look for you. This is probably the easiest night you going to have, okay? And he's still holding the gun. Now, this is like going like for eternity.
Right.
This is like, you know, he said, all right, give me the 20. Now, the problem was I had all my money in one night.
Yeah.
So I got to take the knot out, pull the 20 off, hand him the 20, put the knot back in, and the guy looking like, now you know I really got some money, right? Eternity some more. The train pull up, we both get on the train. He's sitting behind me, and I know, he's thinking. Sure enough, I got off at my stop, and he stayed on the train. My point is, it takes courage. But the funny part was, years later, I'm doing a parenting training class at Wadsworth, and guess who's in the front row in the parenting class? They got it trying to rob me years ago in a program. So I said, listen, man, do I look familiar to you? He said, no, man, you don't. I said, no, you look familiar to me, man. I said, have you ever robbed anybody? And he said, no, man. I said, no. Have you ever robbed anybody in 1981? Because everybody think that, you know, years later they different, you know, new world, they found Jesus, like that's over. Back then, that was me. He was so shocked because, see, the villain don't know it's making victims, but the victim never forget the villain.
Right.
See, the villain, he keep going on and on and on, like like I'm gonna get a new wallet, For me, it's a life-changing dynamic when you become a victim. That's why we have to really start defining, because mental health, the victim needs help, the villain needs help, the cop needs help, the people who the survivors of the it's all over the place, man. It's an epidemic.
Did you ever see this guy who killed Laquan, shot him 16 times? Did you ever see him walking around in courtrooms on the film?
The cop, yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't he look like a strange...
And the tragedy about it is that was not his first encounter with treating people bad, breaking the law, and getting away with it. He just didn't get away with it this time from that standpoint. But that was in his track record.
Almost got away with it then.
And almost got away with it then. So that wasn't news. That wasn't news. But my point is, we have to start looking at violence in our policies, violence in our politics, but violence also with the police. But this legislation is dealing with the mental health that addresses all three. That's my whole point. Because all of them. Let me give you a classic. I got some white colleagues who are professionals. To the person, they all got therapists. To the person. They well-read, well-educated, got a good income, live well, but they all got therapists. So I asked them, I said, what would happen if y'all didn't have therapists? You know what they said? Our life would be looking like y'all's. Out of control, messing with people. Because they really do use that as an anchor. They value mental health, many of them. In spite of their perversities, pleasures, they still deal with another level of mental health, of which we just don't. We self-medicate, desecrate, but we don't deal with mental health. And this part of that, so it's not prescription drug, it ain't that disease, addiction. It's how do we really deal with the fact that violence is a form of insanity, just like racism and anything else. And we have to address it as such. And take the honor and the badge of honor off of it and put it right where it's at. It's harming and injuring the human condition. whenever it's being used.
And WL,
whenever it's being used.
They felt that as an injured father, that losing a child to violence, that they passed this resolution, and I would be happy.
Right.
No.
No.
Now you take the next step. That's the legislation. This legislation is transformational, and they know it. They figured out it. They said, you know what? If it takes the next step, then a lot of these things that we're doing out here, we can't do, because it goes back to what Phil says. Now we are going to encourage you, and you have no other option but to take the 8 steps. And that's the move towards nonviolence.
Right. And I know you saw the girl who killed the boy in Houston, in Dallas.
You know, I missed that. People
You
been
never
talking
saw her?
about
You never saw her on the
People been talking about that.
She just, mentally messed up.
Well, I mean, we see that every day.
It's all over the place.
We see that every day.
And think, even with the mass shootings with whites, which mass shootings, and thank God, don't happen in black institutions, you would think we have a greater chance of having a mass shooting based upon poverty, depression, drug addiction, my mama on drugs. No, that don't make us do that. For some reason, make them do that. And it's always after they have the shooting, there were signs all over the place. See, the first step in nonviolence is making observation. You can't stop something unless you see it. The reason why violence go on, we play like we don't see it in ourselves, and we wait till we see it outside of ourselves before we do something about it. That's the problem.
That's the problem. W, here's a perfect example. We went into Inglewood today. I told the driver during our walk, take us on 64th and left. My old neighborhood. When I got there, this is true. Now we didn't plan this. They didn't know I was coming. I pulled up where I used to live. We had 4 lots in Chicago. That's a lot of land in Chicago. We had a big house that sat to the back, and we had a grapevine and a cherry tree. This is in Chicago. That's how I grew up. I mean, it was like having a little farm in Chicago. I came up.
It's not a corner house, though.
No, it's in the middle of the block.
Right.
And it was like they were waiting on me. They didn't know I was coming. They said, we still cut the grass where you used to live. This is where we come and we just relax. We gonna have a Halloween party. But really they were saying, we respect the fact of who your father was and what you're doing. And you came, and we feel so good. And we took pictures. We talked a little bit about the legislation. But the fact is that, when you talk about civility, that we came there with a spirit of camaraderie and civility. Civility. I mean, it was like they were waiting on me, W, right? Phil was there. Lot clean. Did you see any paper there? They had a couple of beers, but they said, we keep this up in respect to your family. I've been off that block, man, over 40 years. And they take care of those 4 lots. What's going to be our legacy? What is going to be Pritzker's legacy? Pritzker has an opportunity to go into history, to be the state that sets the standard in dealing with the disease of violence. And I don't know why he's ducking and dodging, but we're going to pass this legislation, Mr. Governor, and we look forward to seeing you sign it. You work for us, we don't work for you. Whatever your people are telling you not to do, it's a bad move. And we want to thank Star Planet for covering this for Miss Genesis, and we want to thank Melody Span and WVON for what they have done, and other outlets.
And we got to gather up 200,000 people. And it's easy for us to do that. We can gather up 200,000 people who will go to one of these officials who are not listening to the people who own them and tell them to get out of office.
Yeah.
And if they don't get out, we throw them out.
Yeah.
The Constitution gives you that right. Now, when they start realizing that the public now sees their power, okay, police acting up in your community and not doing the right thing, we go to this police station, we want this police officer right here, out of uniform right now, and out of law enforcement in our city.
But the government now controls all the vices, right?
Mm-hmm.
They controlling the liquor. They took the liquor over at the Prohibition. Now they waited till after the 50s and Lucky Luciano and all them. Now they've taken over the gambling. Now they're taking over the drugs.
Right.
So all the things they used to arrest you and put you in prison, they are now legal.
Right, right.
Now with the government,
isn't that stupid?
by design, interesting.
Yes.
Because see, European social scientists look into the future and they look at measurements. Just like the statistic in 2054, where the median income for black folks will be 0. That means, I guess we ain't gonna be here. Nobody can live off of 0. When this virus issue, why is it that we can't get, we're the only state that has put together a document, but it has to become a binding document, a law. The thing is that when they examine this, because see, this whole process about, when the legislation is being moved, they write a white paper. The purpose of the white paper is to explain why this law should be passed, the pros and the cons. It's debated amongst the sector, but there's no debate for this. 2 American institutions have said they agree with us. The NAACP just agreed with us, and they passed a resolution within their system, their orbit, the United Church of Christ. But the next step, when you want to get it into, and when you want to get it to the masses, this is where your legislative body comes in.
And Pastor, let me tell you one other group that already signed on.
Who?
The CDC.
Oh, yeah.
The CDC already said it.
That's right.
They just waiting for citizens to co-sign and put it into legislative language.
And
The CDC already said it.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's the CDC?
Center of Disease Control.
Right.
They already said violence is a disease and an epidemic.
Right.
They already classified it as such.
Yeah. So we got 4 American institutions. But the CDC, if they say something, you need to listen. The medical community, let's talk about the overall medical community. The medical community is saying it's a disease. But nobody's come forward and said, let's put some legislative measures to it. Segregation, Jim Crowism was violence.
It's violence. Violence.
They came along and presented legislation.
No, they tried to appear as it was a culture, it was a system, it accommodated, it served the purpose. It was violence, man.
In its rawest form.
It's violence, man. You can dress it up all you want. It's violence, man.
Yeah. When people came out to peacefully demonstrate their dislike, water holes, dogs, locked in jail, violence against citizens. They're there to demonstrate.
We here to dramatize your violence.
Yeah. They weren't there to protest. They were there to demonstrate.
They weren't spectators.
No.
That's because the mass of the people in this country have not read the Constitution.
Amen.
And don't know their powers. They hear people talk about it, but they never check it out for themselves.
It was so interesting, the way myself and Reverend Williams, of which I know he's a very competent social strategist, I called him up one Sunday, said, Rev, did you see the headline in the paper? He said, what? I said, it says a snowstorm is coming. He says, no, I ain't read it. I said, that's the problem. Black folks don't read, man. Okay? And first he tried to get a little offended. He said, no, let me go get the paper, man. Okay? I said, no, you read it for yourself. I ain't going to read to you. Go read the paper, man. He come back and said, man, you're right, man. He said, what? We need to go that. So he said, no, we need to have a press conference, da-da-da. We have the press conference. No one showed up at the time the Sterigenics group was at the State House.
Right.
Dealing with Sterigenics, every media outlet was there, didn't come to meet us. She said, okay, what are we going to do? Let's go to the DEA's office. Let me just go meet with them. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, went down there, set up an appointment. But my point is, you just keep moving on truth.
Right.
That's all you can do. But you can't act like you didn't just see what you saw.
That's right.
You can't stop. Where do you think we're going to end up if nobody saw that?
Mm-hmm. Silence is complaciveness.
Well, silence is.
And then when we went down to the DA, what happened? Did they greet us?
They greeted us, and they said, "Poor Chicago police." That's what they said.
Poor Chicago police.
Poor Chicago
It was
police.
pathetic. They were a bunch of Barney Fifes.
That's the DEA.
Give us some closing remarks, Anthony.
WL, once again, thank you for this opportunity, and we're encouraging people to pray for us as we go to Springfield, and we're walking through this state, and we have opportunities. People want to get on the bus, they can call me for this Friday. We're leaving out at 9 in the morning, get down there at 1. But we're also inviting men to join us Sunday at Avalon Park at 11 o'clock for our Men's Day program. So we just want people to know that the Ministry of Avalon Park at 8100 South Dante is there to serve you. And J.B. Prisker, you work for us. We don't work for you. We got to have a special session.
Amen.
Phil?
Now, violence is on trial. It's either non-violence or non-existence, and we are going to take our pain and turn to policy.
Well, you heard it from two individuals who are highly skilled in that area. You know, that area. Mental illness.
Yeah.
No, seriously, people, we need to really get on top of our game.
Yes, sir.
We need to really think about the fact that we are living in a society who's overlooking the problem. We're trying to bring it to them now. And the problem has to become a part of the laws of the state of Illinois. And all these cities that closed down their mental health centers should be ordered to put them back together as soon as possible. That's probably one of the biggest problems. Individuals don't have anything in a place to go to get calmed down, get medicine, to get counseling.
Yeah.
So we go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, and join us again tomorrow. And remember, if you want to join us on Friday, tell them about it, right?
Friday, we leave from Pastor Kevin Dean's church at 120th and Normal New Vision of Faith Ministry, and we're leaving at 9 a.m. in the morning, and please be there. We have a few more seats available on the bus, and if you want to go, if you're sincere, 708-690-5339. And we just ask the saints out there to pray, and we're going to take this prayer and turn it to power, and like Phil said, we're going to take our pain and turn it into policy.
You got that? That's this Friday, 9 a.m. 120 what?
120th and Normal.
Right on the corner.
Right on the corner. Can't miss it.
120th and Normal.
And you can park your car in the church parking lot. And Kevin Dean is a great soul. Used to be, he was chaplain for many years for the Chicago Police Department. Wonderful brother. Wonderful ministry there.
Okay. We'll see you this time again tomorrow.